Now that you know the four types of conic sections, pag-aralan naman natin yung mga tinatawag na degenerate cases. So actually, ito yung mga cases wherein pag tinignan mo yung equation, akala mo conic siya. Pero, in reality, hindi pala. So pwedeng mukha siyang parabola, pero pag grinaph mo na siya, line lang pala siya. Pwede namang mukha siyang ellipse or circle, pero pag grinaph mo, point lang pala. Or pwede rin na mukha siyang hyperbola, pero kapag grinaph mo, is dalawang intersecting lines pala siya. So recall that, dinefine natin yung conic as an intersection of a plane and a double nap cone. So when the plane does not pass through the vertex of the cone, the four basic conics are generated. So we have yung circle, yung ellipse naman medyo nakatabingi, yung parabola is parallels generator, and then yung ating hyperbola. So what if the plane intersects the vertex of the cone? Paano kung kunwari itong circle tsaka ellipse, doon siya sa vertex nag-intersect? Paano kung itong plane na to, doon sa mismong generator siya nag-intersect? Or itong hyperbola to, paano kung doon siya sa gitna or sa axis nag-intersect? Diyan ngayon nangyayari yung mga degenerate cases for conics. Because they are actually formed if the plane intersects the cone at its vertex. So in here, yung circle natin naging point, yung parabola natin naging line, and yung hyperbola natin naging two intersecting lines. So let's recall kung paano natin malalaman kung yung isang general form is a parabola, an ellipse, a circle, or a hyperbola. So for a parabola, we have ax squared plus dx plus ey plus f equals 0, or by squared plus dx plus ey plus f equals 0. So isa lang yung ating squared term, tapos meron tayong x at meron tayong y. For an ellipse, we have ax squared plus by squared plus dx plus ey plus f equals 0, where yung a at b natin, they have the same sign. And for a circle, it's the same as the ellipse, but in this case, our a is equal to b. For hyperbola, we have ax squared plus by squared plus dx plus ey plus f equals 0, but a and b here have opposite signs. So let's study the generate case of a parabola. Kapag doon sa ating general form nawala yung ey or yung dx, or nawala yung ating mga squared terms, nagre-result yan into a degenerate case. So we have three. We have ax squared plus dx plus f equals 0, or by squared plus ey plus f equals 0, or dx plus ey plus f equals 0. And the solutions are either two distinct real solutions, one real solution, or no real solution. So if we graph these three equations, pwede tayong makakuha ng dalawang lines, pwedeng isang line, or no graph at all. For the degenerate case of an ellipse or a circle, so note that doon sa ating standard form, this is equal to 1. Okay? However, kapag degenerate case siya, etong equation na ito will be equal to 0 or equal to a negative number. So kapag ganito na yung lalabas, kapag change natin yung general form to standard form, we are sure that degenerate case siya ng ellipse or circle. So the graph of this will either be a point or there is no graph at all. So let's transform the equation to standard form of 6x squared plus 9y squared minus 24x minus 54y plus 51 equals 0. So we do this by completing the square. So we have 6 times the quantity x squared minus 4x plus blank plus 9 times the quantity y squared minus 6y plus blank equals, ilipat natin yung 51, so we have negative 51 plus blank plus blank. So that is now equal to, since this is negative 2 squared Ito namang sa kabila natin is negative 3 squared. So we have 6 times x minus 2 squared plus 9 times y minus 3 squared equals negative 51 plus 6 times negative 2 squared is 4 plus 9 times negative 3 squared is 9. Or that is 6 times x minus 2 squared plus 9 times y minus 3 squared equals 54. And if we divide everything by 54, we have x minus 2 squared over 9 plus y minus 3 squared over 6 is equal to 1, which is an equation of an ellipse. So therefore, this equation is an ellipse. Now, let's transform 6x squared plus 9y squared minus 24x minus 54y plus 105 to equal 0 to its standard form. So again, by completing the square, we have this and this. So if we add now the right-hand side, that is equal to 0. And if we divide everything by 54, that is x minus 2 squared over 9 plus y minus 3 squared over 6 is equal to 0. Clearly, this is a degenerated case of an ellipse. And particularly, if we graph this, point lang yung makikita natin at 2, 3. Kapag naman negative ito, yun yung case kung saan wala tayong graph. But if this is equal to 0, this is a point. Let's transform the equation to standard form. So 6x squared plus 9y squared minus 24x minus 54y plus 159 equals 0. So again, by completing the square, yan yung makukuha natin. And if we simplify the right-hand side, we have negative 54. And if we divide everything by 54, we have x minus 2 squared over 9 plus y minus 3 squared over 6 equals negative 1. So since negative 1 ito, then we are sure that we have no graph. And this is a degenerated case of an ellipse. And finally, the degenerated case of a hyperbola. Again, doon sa ating hyperbola, this is equal to 1. However, if this becomes equal to 0, this is now a degenerated case of a hyperbola. And the graph of this will be two intersecting lines. Let's transform the equation to standard form and determine kung ito ba ay hyperbola or a degenerated case of a hyperbola. So 4x squared minus 12y squared plus 24x plus 24 is equal to 0. So for our solution, we first have to complete the square. So we have 4 times the quantity x squared plus 6x plus blank minus 12y squared. So dito, wala naman tayong kailangang i-complete. So that is equal to, lipat natin yung 24 sa kabila. So we have negative 24 plus blank. Or that is now 4 times, ano ba kasi yung dinagdag natin dito? This is just equal to 6 divided by 2. So that is 3 squared. So we have 4 times x plus 3 squared minus 12y squared is equal to negative 24 plus, so 3 squared is 9 times yung 4 pa natin, so 4 times 9. Or that is now equal to 4 times x plus 3 squared minus 12y squared equals 12. Dividing everything by 12, we have x plus 3 squared over 3 minus y squared is equal to 1. Therefore, this is a hyperbola. Kasi equals 1 yung ating expression. And finally, let's transform the equation to standard form and see if this is a hyperbola or a degenerated case of a hyperbola. So we have 4x squared minus 12y squared plus 24x plus 36 is equal to 0. For our solution, again, gamitin ulit natin yung completing the square. So we have 4 times x squared plus 6x plus blank minus 12y squared is equal to, lipat natin yung 36, so we have negative 36 plus blank. So kanina, pinakita na natin that this is just 3 squared. So we now have 4 times x plus 3 squared minus 12y squared equals negative 36 plus 4 times 9. So that is equal to 4 times x plus 3 squared minus 12y squared equals 0. And dividing everything by 12, that is now x plus 3 squared over 3 minus y squared is equal to 0. And since equals 0 yan, this is actually a degenerated case of a hyperbola. And in particular, pag grinaph natin yan, this will give us two intersecting lines.